Good day, everybody. How's it going out there? Well, today we're just going to cover some nice news, and we'll get through this week. And so, what are we going to talk about this week? So let me look at the picture. No, why? We're supposed to cover nice things this week. We're supposed to cover nice things, cover nice, awesome news. Awesome, wonderful news. I don't know. It's supposed to be good and happy times. And no, why are we covering this? No. Why are you forsaking me, man? Why are you doing this to me? Anyway, fine. If we're gonna do it this one, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. Let's just get started. So, as a disclaimer. When furry is a community, and like any other community, you're going to have people who surprise you in unfortunate ways. People who, you thought you knew, or, you thought were good people and good folks, and then all of a sudden news comes out that puts the things in a less than savory light of, things that were going on behind closed doors. And this is one of those cases. So this week we're talking about a furry named RC the Fox. RC the Fox recently jumped from sort of mainstream furry to sort of infamous pretty quickly. And interestingly enough, it was because of an article that happened a month ago, but people didn't really drive the connection. And it's kind of interesting that it took a whole month for people to realize. For more details on the details about how we know that RC the Fox is tied to this guy, Rage Hound did an awesome video. But basically there was an article in a small town press from the western side of Pennsylvania, and I'll have a description of that below, that talked about an individual named Carl Richwood, who is brought up on charges for 20 counts of underage pornography. And I'm talking about real videos of real disgusting things. Like, it's not art, it's not anything like that. It is it's physical, actual videos from what it sounded like in the article. And because they were found with that kind of content on their hard drive, which is illegal, they've been charged on it. There has, to put an asterisk next to this, there hasn't really been an arrest yet for what seems to be this case. There are preliminary hearings going on. The person will have their day in court. As I said, more details can be found in the Rage Hound video. About the dockets and all that other stuff. I'll also try to post those in the link below. I'll also post the link to the article, which I did for Flera on this. And so that basically is that. It is unfortunate, really, that these kind of things occur in our fandom and in many communities. I think that a lot of people like Rage Hound were asking, it's why didn't the media really usually the media has a field day whenever a furry is caught doing nasty things like this or things like that. They plaster it all over the place. The reason I think that this didn't happen in this case is that, interestingly, I think the furries knew that this guy was a furry before the mainstream media did, and so we were able to disseminate that information pretty quickly once it was figured out. There was a lag between the original article, which just named the guy's name, the guy's in real life name, which was Carl Richwood, to the act, and it took a while probably for the local furries to go, it's not the same Carl Richwood, is it? The locals, and then people are well, maybe I shouldn't talk about it and bring it up that he was a furry, or maybe I should. And eventually somebody found out, and eventually somebody connected the dots, and it got out that this was RC the Fox. And so, people started to go, what's going on here, RC? What's this article here? Is this you? And eventually what ended up happening, and this is why we kind of can understand why this guy is probably not arrested. He's probably still has access. He's probably still out walking about. At the moment is he basically liquidated all of his social media. His Fur Affinity is disabled. He renamed his YouTube channel and destroyed all videos on it. He named it to Name, literally. He named his YouTube channel Name instead of RC the Fox. He disabled his Twitter account. So basically, probably at the advice of his lawyer, is basically, distancing his public life and sort of, eliminating all those aspects on it. And probably one to de-stress himself as well, because obviously he's going to be going to trial over this, and he needs to focus on that, obviously. It'll play out in court. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, it's still like, it's not a good thing to be known for. And it's absolutely just having that kind of content is absolutely disgusting. And everyone knows that. Because here's the thing: everyone in the fandom knows somebody who's been abused. And literally, like, it's not as much of a rarity as it should be that people know somebody who's been abused in their life, or knows somebody who knows somebody. It's literally like, usually it's within. You don't have to go too deep to figure out somebody who's been exploited, either as a child or as an adult sexually by individuals these days. And it is an unfortunate thing that we should be trying to to help alleviate within our communities. And times like this, I think, are a good time to discuss those things, because literally, we had this whole Hollywood thing come out with that Weinstein guy, and then talking about Donald Trump in the video sort of last week, talking about that kind of behavior and exploiting adults. But children are the same. Children are even especially heinous because they can't really defend themselves. And I think that most people in the furry community, have a sense of that. Unfortunately, not everybody in the furry community has a sense of that, particularly some controversial individuals within the furry fandom. So this individual is a part of what is called the Furry Raiders, I guess. And I don't know his name really. It's some goat dude. I've seen some pictures of him running around of some of the controversial things he's done. But he basically said down there, it's like, I don't understand what the big deal is. It's just ones and zeros on a hard drive. It's like, to me, that in essence sort of gives me an essence on what is their malfunction, right? As a person. It's like the literal belief that everyone they're interacting with on the internet is not a real human being. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. We're just shapes, as it were. See my review of Night in the Woods to understand where I'm getting at with the just shapes thing. We're actually really human beings on the internet, dude. We're actually people with actual feelings. The person in those videos, the people in those kids in those videos eventually become adults. And I've seen how abuse and stuff like this causes harm in individuals. And I've seen it to basically shatter a part of their adulthood. They can wear it pretty well, but, at the end of the day, it's still shattered, a part of their adulthood. And they still have, sort of post-traumatic stress flashbacks on these things that happen to them. And to them, it's very real. And some of these people are older, so it's like they didn't have to worry about that stuff being disseminated on the internet. It happened in real life. They know it happened, but at least the evidence, the reminder that it happened isn't being disseminated across the internet. With people these days who are subject to this kind of abuse and then have that information distributed this way, it is really, really more than ones and zeros. It is really the abuse happens over and over again, and the fact that as growing up and having to realize in the back of your head that kind of information is being disseminated to other people, I can't even imagine the trauma that causes. And the fact that you would just blatantly go, it's ones and zeros. All right, dude, let me do this. What is the most traumatizing thing that happened in your childhood? What is the most embarrassing moment that you wouldn't want disseminated across the entire thing? You tell me that, and what I'll do is I'll gather a GoFundMe page, and I will build a statue of that very moment in the local town square of wherever you live, and say, hey man, remember the time that this thing happened to this goat dude? Remember the time that like disturbing thing happened to him, and the thing that traumatized him like from in childhood? You remember when that happened? Here's a statue of it for all time, for everyone to see. And you can't tell me that wouldn't have an emotional impact. It would. You wouldn't want that kind of a thing happening. So, you shouldn't be disseminating, snapshots of abuse of the worst moment in probably this child's life, so that it has to haunt them as an adult. And so if any of my watchers have that kind of, anyone who's watching this video has that kind of stuff on their computer, you need to wipe that thing. You need to, throw that device into a recycling electronics center. And most importantly, you need to never seek out that kind of information again. The internet was created, yes, to disseminate information. It was called ARPANET. Its entire function and purpose was to make sure that information wasn't destroyed by the enemy in a nuclear strike. So, the odds of being able to remove, information that exploits children like this is probably second to none. But you can't turn a blind eye and have that information on your own devices and say that you're not part of the problem, because you kind of are. Just my opinion on that. And going back to that frickin' comment on the ones and zeros, it's like it's just ones and zeros. I'm going to go a little zenyatta on you here and say, what is life but a bunch of ones and zeros? Where ones are individuals that are contributing to those around them at the cost to oneself, and where zeros are the people who are taking stuff in for themselves at the cost of others. That they only care about their own well-being and happiness at the expense of others. And by a tweet such as that, the information on your computer is just a bunch of ones and zeros with no meaning, presents to me that you're probably closer to the zero range at this moment in time. People can change. People can change from a 1 to a 0 based upon the variables in which happen in their lifetimes. Things can change people from being selfless to selfish and selfish to selfless. Usually it's, and usually, hopefully, but life is but an interaction between those groups of people. It's an interaction between those who are givers and those who are takers, between the ones and the zeros, and how much exploitation is going on and how much giving is going on, and will one ever overtake the other, and and how they interact with one another paints the entire picture of life. And there are some times in our lifetime where there are more zeros than ones, and there are times when there's more ones than zeros. And hopefully we'll live in a world where there are as many ones as we can possibly get. But we have to understand that there are people who are not zeros with nefarious ends. There are people who are zeros because of their circumstances in life. They don't want to, they get ill or, things like that. Those are fine. Those are the times where the ones really shine, is when they have to give and try to help the people who life has put them in on those unfortunate circumstances. But there are people who choose to be zeros. There are people who are well and healthy who choose to still take from society as much as possible. And to those individuals, I say, seek help, seek guidance, seek something that will help turn your life around, because you are ill in a way. You are taking as if you were ill, but you're not ill. You're there by your own rendition. I guess that's my Sunday spiel for today. But, on a final, more cheeky note, I guess since I had to have some humor in life, otherwise I go crazy. It's just how I deal with crass moments, I suppose. But a lot of people who watch my content and watch my channel, it's like, why don't you try and promote yourself more? Why don't you try and advertise more? Why don't you try and get your videos out there more to other people? And I don't really have interest in being popular. I really don't. I just want to make content that people can enjoy or inform people in any case, shape, or form, because I think that providing a nonfiction record of the trials and tribulations of a community help make a community stronger, and help understand like more about the community, some of its strengths, some of its weaknesses, and stuff like that. My goal is not to become popular. And I think this final picture kind of shows you kind of why. That's an unfortunate thing. So here we have a picture of RC the fox and Kage. Kage, the leader of Anthrocon, the largest furry convention in the world, or for at least 2 more months at this point. Yeah. That's what happens when you become popular, guys. The problem is like you get people who are like I don't want to talk to those guys. I don't want to do that. But they're furries, and I'm a furry, and I'm sort of a leader furry. So I got to talk with people that other people. I got to be nice to people, right? But at the same time, this guy Kage, giving him the benefit of the doubt here, obviously didn't know about RC the fox's dealings in his private home. Just as most of us didn't. It blindsided all of us. But, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you find pictures of things. And when I was talking to somebody about this, they were like, yeah, it's sort of like you wonder how many politicians shook the hand of O.J. Simpson, or like, were buddies with O.J. Simpson, and how selfies with O.J. Simpson before he went on trial for his misdeeds. So it's kind of like that. It's like you never know. The random picture you take a picture with is going to turn out to be like, oh, that's so regrettable. Oh, gosh, that's so regrettable. Oh, I got to go wash my shoulders. Oh, gosh, I got to take a shower. Scrub. Out, damn spot. Out. Get it out. Anyway, yeah, so it's kind of the reason I don't want to do the whole popularity thing, just because eventually that's going to happen to me, where it's like I'm in the same room as a guy who's sort of creepy, but I don't know they're creepy until the thing's like allegedly they're creepy. We're going to let the courts go through and do their thing, and obviously we'll keep you up to date. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make a video every time an elephant farts on this case. Basically, if an arrest happens, I would just update the article at Flera. Obviously, if the person's found guilty, then that would be its own article, but that's going to be a few years out, I'm sure. But for now, I'm going to get the hop out of here. And thank you very much to the person on Twitter. I can't remember the name for the life of you, who kind of forwarded this as a request. I'm really bad with names. I know that you did it. I'll put your tweet in the description below as well, as sort of a shout out that you were the one who sort of requested that I do this video this week. Dang you! Why are you gonna request me do bad things? Give me happy stories. Give me good things to cover, man. I want to cover good things. I don't want to cover the bad things all the time. I don't want to be known as that guy who's like, oh, everything is so bad in the furry fandom all the time. No, I want to have some good stories, man. Give me some good things. Give me some good cheddar, man. Ugh. No, it's all right. Things have got to get covered, bad and good. I'm neutral in that regard. It's like you got to cover the bad, you got to cover the good, because ignoring the bad doesn't let it go away. Addressing it helps it go away. I think it's kind of lethargic. But anyways, thank you very much for the suggestion, and thank you very much for everyone who's watching. Be sure to kick that like, kick the subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of castrate him, because, YouTube comments. But I'm going to get the hop out of here. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good week, and I hope to get back to good things next week. Please let me cover good things next week, please. Oi, Laven. Please. Yes. Oh, I like that. Thank you. Nah. Oh, I don't want to cover things like this ever again. Please delete that crap from your hard drive if you have it on your hard drive. Get rid of it. It's bad, very creepy. Don't like it. See you later.